Class, we got Bellator 298 to cover. And real quick, Bellator's doing Bellator stuff again, and they got a couple of 0-0 guys going up against a couple of guys that are 0 wins and a loss or more. 0-1, 0-4, I do believe. Yeah, I'm not going to give you a breakdown on these. Sorry, I don't know what there is to give a breakdown on. For the sake of just giving you a pick, I'll take the two 0-0 guys because Bellator clearly wants them to win. But they're both minus 1,000. Don't be parlaying them up. Don't be betting on them. It's just a bad idea. You never know what can happen, especially when the guy's 0-0. So ignore those fights, but I'll take these two here, Jordan Oliver and Michael Blockhaus or whatever. I guess I'll take those two. They don't have any pro fights, so don't trust it. Either way, Bellator 298 should be fun. There's a lot of really good fights on this card. Check me out on Twitter, 138MMA. Check out Grey Dog Software, where you can get yourself a copy of WMMA 5 or one of the previous titles, as well as some of their other titles about comic books or wrestling or football or basketball or whatever you like. They've got them all. Basically, with the WMMA 5, that's the game that I can tell you about because I played it before. You get to take over as if you're your own Scott Coker or Dana White or whatever, and you get to run your promotion, sign fighters, book matches, find your media deals, all that stuff, pick the commentators, all that. You get to do all that, and you get to set up the promotion. It's a really fun game to play. You can get it from my link in the description of this video. Also, patreon.com/138MMA. We've been doing the top 5 favorite bets for the last 3 weeks now, and 3 weeks in a row we've had profit. In addition to that, you get access to all of my notes, as well as the Patreon parlay. You're going to get all that on patreon.com/138MMA. And lastly, you can become a channel member. If you'd like to support this channel, feel free to do so. It's $2.99. You get cool badges, cool emojis, all sorts of neato stuff. Do all those things. I appreciate it very much. And without wasting more time, let's get into the fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, 138 proudly brings to you the hottest
Bantamweight, we have Gerald Hodge. He's taking on Marceli Alves, is how I'm going to pronounce that. 4-1 in the last 5 and 5-0 in the last 5, respectively. 4-1 for Alves, 5-0 for Hodge. Interesting matchup. I think it's a very close matchup on paper and as well as in action. I think it's going to be a good, tough fight. Alves probably the better striker. He's got good forward pressure, solid combinations, and he mixes his punches and kicks very well. Good volume, got the counter-punching ability, and when he hits you, you feel it. He's got some decent power on him. When it comes to the takedown defense, he's got good takedown defense. What he likes to do is sprawl and then start striking right away and kind of get the wrestler to then kind of ball up, fall to their butt, and just eat shots from the ground and pound style. Now, he doesn't accept bottom if he does get taken down. He tries to work back to his feet, scrambles, creates an opening to get back up. On the other side, we've got Hodge. Hodge is the better grappler of the two. He's got good grappling, good ground and pound once he gets on top, uses that to open up his submission attempts, and goes from there. He does have very good control, though, so once he gets the fight to the mat, the control is going to be on the side of Hodge. With the striking, he's got good striking, he's got good combinations, and he'll mix those strikes up as well. For me, this is a tough one, because if it ends up being a striking match, Alves should win all day. But I think Hodge is going to be able to get the wrestling going and mix it in enough to squeak out a win here. I think this is going to be a very close fight. I think it's probably going to go to decision. Could even be a split decision. We're going to take Hodge, though. Let me know what you guys have. I'd love to hear from you. Bantamweights at 2 different stages of their career here. We have Josh Hill taking on Kasumov. Kasumov, 4-1 in the last 5, 3-2 for Hill. Hill is a bit older. He is not quite over the hill, but he's getting there. He's 36. He's taking on the 29-year-old in Kasumov. Interesting matchup. Both guys are predominantly wrestlers, but, a little bit different styles, I'd say. For Kasumov, good solid wrestling. He's got the body lock takedown, and he's going to start looking to control and then seek the sub. If he needs to, he can scramble and sweep very well. The submission game, he's got 9 of them out of his 14 wins, so that's pretty impressive there. Only 5 wins not by submission, if you can do the math for me. Anyway, good striking as well. He's got a good leg kick and a jab. Not a ton of diversity in his strikes. He keeps it simple. He's looking to get the wrestling going most of the time. Now, when it comes to Josh Hill, we know he's got solid wrestling as well. He's got those takedown entries. He likes to come in under strikes. So, like, his opponent's throwing strikes at him, and then he likes to dip underneath and get that takedown. So, if opponent throws a strike, he comes down, gets it. Now, here's the thing. That's going to be tough against a guy that's just working jab, leg kick a lot. I understand Kasumov has other strikes, but either way, the jab to the leg kick is not really something you shoot under a lot. You can catch the leg kick if you wish. So there is that. He does have good top control once he gets there, and he's a grinder. Once he gets on top, he starts grinding out minutes, wearing on your face a little bit, beating up on you just enough to beat you down, break you down, and then start working for some shots later on. In the striking, his takedown threat usually opens it up quite a bit. He'll fake the takedowns and come up with a big overhand and then come over the top with the 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. And the power, pretty decent power, can land a little heavy. For me in this one, though, I think it just comes down to the age and the difference in just where they're at in their career. Josh Hill is still doing darn good in his career, but he's going up against a 14-1 prospect, 29 years old, with a similar skill set in wrestling to be able to stop the takedowns and the best game of Josh Hill. For me, that leaves me with Kasumov for the win. Let me know what you guys have, and I would love to hear from you in the comments. I'll see you. Bantamweight, we have Leandro Higo. He's taking on Nikita Mikhailov. For Mikhailov, he's 4-0 or 4-1 in his last 5. Sorry about that. 3-2 for Higo in his last 5. The age is a 10-year gap. We have 24 on the Mikhailov and 34 for Higo. Here's an interesting matchup. I thought Mikhailov lost his last fight, but that's not for me to say. That was for the judges, and they thought otherwise. So anyway, he is 4-1 coming in. He's got good grappling, good top pressure, likes to score a lot of trips as he gets in tight with his opponent. If he's shooting takedowns from range, he gets a bit reckless in those, and that's not something you usually like to see against somebody with good grappling skill in Higo. Now, on the feet, it's decent. He's got a laser of a right hand, though. Or I guess technically he throws it from either hand, but that laser of that cross, that rear side straight, that he does have a very good one there. That is his best striking weapon. Now, I think on the other side, Higo is better everywhere than a guy like Mikhailov, except for the fact that Mikhailov has youth on his side. Other than that, Higo skill for skill is better everywhere. For Higo, solid grappling, good top control. He's going to be able to get the ground and pound going, start looking for submissions, predominantly chokes, various chokes, but he's going to start looking for submissions. He's got good sweeps and transitions as well. When it comes to the striking, he's going to cut off the cage, start slamming leg kicks, and the thing is he can counter while moving forward. Not many people can do that. They start moving backwards when they're countering or stationary. What he does is he's starting to move forward, boom, counter, strike, boom, counter, strike, as he's working forward with his shots. I think Higo is better everywhere, and the only thing that is the issue is the age. Like I said, I'm going to take Higo for the pick. I'm sure he's an underdog. I don't know what the odds are on all these fights, just a couple of them. I'm sure Higo is the pick. I'm sure Higo is the underdog. I'm going to take him as the pick. Don't think I'll get around to betting him just because when you're betting a 10-year age gap, especially at bantamweight, that's tough. But, yeah, I'll take Higo. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you in the next one. We have Alfie Davis. He's taking on Elon Cruz. For Cruz, he's 3-2 in the last 5. For Davis, 3-1 in a draw in the last 5. Now, there's a big reach advantage here. The height's not too big of a difference, but the reach is huge. Elon Cruz, 6 foot tall, 77.5-inch reach, as opposed to 5'11 with a 70-inch reach for Davis. Elon Cruz, he's got good striking. He's got an effortless head kick, typically because he's usually way taller than his opponents. But he's got an effortless head kick. He snapped it up there really quick. Got good knees up the middle. He does those well. Also, being tall helps that a lot. When it comes to grappling, he's got good control once he gets the fight to the mat. Those long limbs help. At times, I probably should have wrote this up there, but at times he does struggle to get the fight down. He'll try to look for those takedowns and just not have a lot of success. But once he does, he's got good control. Now, on the other hand, we have Alfie Davis. He's predominantly a striker. He's got very solid striking, super fast kicks, and he can work them from either stance as well as his punches, of course. He's got good body work. He works with both punches and kicks. Works in combinations. He can counter-strike very well. He's super durable, and he's got a ton of lateral movement. So in this one here, I think this one's super clear-cut. Alfie Davis is the better fighter all around, except for maybe grappling, but I don't think he's going to have any hard time keeping this on the feet. So for me, Alfie Davis is the pick. I can see him struggling with the range at points in the matchup, but I think he's going to be able to use that lateral movement, keep moving side to side, and just kind of dart in, land his shots, and snap some big kicks. And I think Alfie Davis is getting it done. Let me know what you guys have. I'll see you in the next light heavyweight. We have Sullivan Cauley. He's taking on Hamza Salim. Salim 2-3 in the last 5, 4-1 for Cauley. Cauley coming off of that first defeat in his career. Let's start with the Salim side. He's got decent striking, pretty good kicks, kind of like a karate-looking style or whatever. He loops his hooks, kind of wild. Look, he's being brought in here to lose. He's durable. He's got pretty good takedown defense. Once he's on the mat, he's not that good. Struggles off his back, basically. He's being brought in to lose. He's 7-6. Here's the deal. He's not a total tomato can, but he's not that good. Now, for Sullivan Cauley, he's got decent wrestling, decent top pressure. Basically, the ground and pound's really heavy. He's got power, speed, and aggression, and he relies on that a bit too much, but that's what he's got. You got to take Cauley, but I don't trust it as much as I should for the guy probably being like a -1,000 favorite. Cauley's the pick. Don't parlay him up. It's just not worth the odds, especially against a guy that, he's not terrible. Even though he is 7-6, he's not terrible. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you in the next featherweight matchup here between Diana Silva and Ekaterina Shakalova. So for Shakalova, 5-0 in the last 5, 2-3 for Silva. Don't let that fool you, though, because Silva's not too bad. And in fact, in this matchup, she has a pretty good height and reach advantage. 5'7", 68.5-inch reach, as opposed to 5'2", 62.5-inch reach. For Shakalova, I don't know how she's at 145 pounds and 5'2". Well, I do know how, but you look at that and you think that's crazy. It's those legs. She's got very strong, powerful legs, size of tree trunks, which I don't want her to hear me say that. I don't know what she's going to think about that. She'll probably use her grappling on me. She's got good grappling. Very solid grappling, in fact. When she gets the takedown, she works to pass right away. She's got a variety of throws and takedowns to get the fight to the mat. Good at scrambles. When she gets on top, she's got heavy elbows. In the striking, it's basically just to set up her grappling, and she's got a good 1-2. That's pretty much it. A good 1-2, and she's going to the grappling. For Silva, it's the opposite. She's got some trips in the grappling department, don't get me wrong, but realistically, she's got a Muay Thai background, and that's what she's going to use. She's got good striking, good volume, likes to counter. In fact, she actually prefers a brawl and just counter off of you hitting her, and she'll come back with a shot. Eats one, gives one, does not care. Tough as nails. Silva is very live on the feet, but I think if Ekaterina can get this to the mat, I think she's going to be able to handle this one without too much trouble, and I do think she's going to get the fight to the mat. So Shakalova is the pick. Let me know what you guys have, and I will see you in the slightly losing my voice from yelling all day at work, but here I am, still getting this Bellator breakdown for you guys, ready to roll. So hey, do me a favor, if you're appreciating this video, if you're enjoying yourself, just toss a like on it. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. Now let's get into this. Vladimir Tokov, he's taking on Jairo Pacheco at 155 pounds. Pacheco, 4-1 in the last 5, 3-2 for Tokov. Tokov is a bit shorter at 5'10" with a 73-inch reach, as opposed to the 6', 76-inch reach of Pacheco. Now, this is an interesting matchup because I think that for one fighter, this matchup looks really good, and for the other, it's a tough stylistic matchup. Now, for Pacheco, he's a good striker who uses his range very well. He's got strikes to all levels, whether that's legs, body, or head. Mix it up with a front kick up the middle that he can stick to the body or the face. He's got good head movement as well. Gets that head off the center line a lot for the striking. Now, his takedown defense isn't very good because he's got pretty good jiu-jitsu off his back, and sometimes he's willing to get there and willing to stay there and work from his back, which will lose in minutes. But on the feet, I do think he's a very good striker, and I think in the striking department, he's probably the better striker. Now, for the striking of Tokov, he's got a good head kick, but other than that, not a ton there. I mean, he's decent, don't get me wrong, he's not terrible, but I mean, in the matchup, I don't see a ton of success for him. He does get backed up as well. However, in the grappling, he's got good wrestling, and he catches kicks in order to get the fight to the mat. And once he does, he's got very good top control. Now, for a kick catcher, going against a guy like Pacheco, this is going to be a nightmare for Pacheco. For me, I think Tokov gets this one done because he's going to be able to catch the kicks, get the fight to the mat. Pacheco's going to try and work off his back, and I don't think he's going to be able to get it done. I think Tokov's got this one. Let me know what you have. I've got Tokov. I'll see you in the next here. We have Diana Avsaragova taking on Justine Kish. Kish is 1-4 in her last 5. Obviously 5-0 for Avsaragova. She's 6-0 in the career, undefeated. We got another 10-year age gap, 25 to 35. Kish is the older fighter. As you can tell, she has been around a little bit longer. Got a background in, I believe, Muay Thai. Could be wrong about that, but I believe it's a Muay Thai background. For Justine Kish, she's got good striking. She really does. She's got good striking, mixes her punches and kicks together very well. She's got good lateral movement, and she's good at picking her shots. The problem is her grappling. She's not very good at the takedown defense, and she does struggle off her back. Even worse, she's clearly declining at this point in her career. There was a time that she wasn't actually a very bad fighter. She was pretty good. Was in the UFC for a while, did all right, but here she is in Bellator, and she's 1-4 in her last 5 between UFC and Bellator fights. Has not looked good as of late. For Avsaragova, really lacking in the experience department, as opposed to Kish, who maybe doesn't have a ton of fights, but the experience is definitely more than double on the side of Justine Kish. So for Avsaragova, she's got good striking, good combinations, good counter-punching ability, good footwork. The problem is she waits for her opponent to initiate. Now, I don't think she'll have to wait long because I do think Justine Kish is going to come forward with the strikes. So I do think that the striking is going to get going here. But can Avsaragova keep up with the vet in the striking? Now, here's the thing. She's got good wrestling. And in fact, I think she's got a really easy path to victory for her here if she starts to use this wrestling. The problem is she's always been reluctant to use her wrestling in her fights so far in all 6 of those pro fights. She doesn't want to use it. She doesn't use it unless she has to, which is really frustrating when you're watching her fight sometimes. I'm going to take Avsaragova here because I do think that the 6-0 prospect coming up, younger, youthful, more explosive, is going to have the advantage. But I think She would be a lock 100% if she would use her wrestling just right out of the gate, but she probably won't. She's probably going to be content to strike, and that's going to be a problem for her early on. I do think she's still going to win, even if it ends up as a striking match, but she has a clear path to victory. We'll see if she uses it. Let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you in the next matchup here. Jalen Bates taking on Enrique Barzola. Barzola is 3-2 in the last 5. Bates is undefeated, 5-0 obviously in the last 5 because he's 7-0 overall. Bates is going to have a height and reach advantage, 5'10 with a 73.5-inch reach, 5'7", 70-inch reach for Barzola. Now for Bates, younger guy, up and coming, doing his darn thing, getting there, undefeated, got a lot of head of momentum, got a lot of steam headed his way. Good grappling. He's got good takedowns, likes to take the back and just kind of cling to his opponent. In the striking, he uses his length well. The kicks are basically his main weapon in the striking, but the grappling is where he wants to go. Now for Barzola, it's the opposite. He's a high-paced striker. He's got good striking combinations, works to counter. Sometimes he does get backed up when he's looking for those counter shots, which can be a problem for him, but he does have good combinations and good counters, and when he gets when he gets himself moving forward, he can get those combinations going and really start landing shots. In the grappling, he's pretty decent as well. He's good. He can work off his back, whatever, but in the ground and pound, that's where he excels. He throws some heavy shots with a lot of volume in the ground and pound. Honestly, in this fight, this is tough because, like I said, Bates has a lot of momentum. He is 7-0. But I do think that the crafty veteran here, Enrique Barzola, is just a bit too much of a step up in competition for him. So I'm going to go with Barzola here. Let me know who you have, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Striker versus grappler here in the featherweight division. We have Lucas Brennan. He's taking on Weber Almeida. Almeida, he's 35 years old, but he's only 7-1 on his career. So this is new to MMA, but not new to the combat sports experience. Now, 4-1 in the last 5, 8-0 for Brennan. He's 23 years old, young up-and-coming prospect, looking crisp on the ground. For Almeida, good striker, got good leg kicks. He's got good counter-striking. Basically, that's what he's doing. He's looking for those leg kicks, getting you to come in and then counter-strike you. That's what he wants to do. Sometimes that makes his output a little bit lower. Now, for Brennan, super slick Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's got good body lock takedowns, some decent trips as well. And he's going to mix in the ground and pound just to start setting up those submissions. He's going to seek that finish, and he's likely going to choke you out. Honestly, I think this fight is very cut and dry. I think Lucas Brennan gets this one done. I think he's safe for your parlays. I know the odds are getting a little bit wide. Earlier in the week, it was like minus 400 or something. He's like probably minus 600 by the time you guys are seeing this. Brennan's safe for the parlays. He's getting this one done. I think he's going to get the submission. Let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next grapplers face off in the lightweight division. We have Sydney Outlaw taking on Islam Mamedov. Mamedov's 4-1 in the last 5, 3-2 for Outlaw. Let's start on the Mamedov side. He's got solid grappling. He's very efficient in his grappling, but doesn't waste any explosiveness. Just gets on top, gets that control, and does what he needs to do to either set up the finish, grind out minutes, and land just enough to keep that control and not wear himself out. Now, on the striking, he's got good striking. He's very patient, which can be good, can be bad. He's got a rangy 1-2, and the thing I like is his hand position, because what he does is he keeps that right hand right here, and keeps that ready to roll, and then he keeps that left hand out here directing traffic. And it makes it hard for guys that are also grapplers to be able to shoot in on him, because he's got this hand to start stuffing and sticking with that shot, and then he comes in on top if he needs to. But it also helps him in the striking because it helps him get this range, and he has that hand here to get his opponent looking up, so then he can either come with that right hand or go under with the takedown. So I do like the way he does that. For Sydney Outlaw, he's pretty much a grappler. Now, he's got decent striking. He uses it just to set up the grappling, though. He's got good takedowns. He's going to chain wrestle you. And when he gets it to the mat, he's got good top control. He does like to take the back and start looking for that rear naked choke. For me, this fight's tough because they're both good grapplers, but I think Mamedov is going to be the better grappler, and I think in the striking, he's going to be slightly better there as well. So for me, Outlaw has a good potential with the finish upside in the rear naked choke, but I think Mamedov is going to be better minute winner, and I think he's just going to be more skilled everywhere. So for me, I'm going to take Mamedov to get the win, but let me know what you have. I'd love to hear from you. I'll see you next up. We have James Gallagher taking on James Gonzalez in the featherweight division. 3-2 for Gonzalez in the last 5, 4-1 for Gallagher. This is an interesting matchup, and I'll tell you why here in a minute, but we're going to start by breaking down Gonzalez. He's got solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with excellent transitions. When he's going to be able to take your back, you're not even going to notice it happen. Next thing you know, he's on your back, and you're like, what the heck happened there? Why is James back there? James took your back. He's got good control from back there, and he's going to start working for submissions from then. He could use some work in the takedowns. They're not very good, but if the fight does get to the mat, he's probably going to take your back. Now, in the striking, he's got good kicks at range, and particularly up the middle with the front kicks. He'll throw some like long leg kicks I don't like as much, but he has them. Good lateral movement, decent counters. If he's moving sideways and you try to cut him off, and he'll sometimes strike you as he circles off. He's not really a good striker by any means. He's more defensive, and he's looking to get the fight to the mat, looking to shoot his takedowns. Even if he doesn't get him, he's going to try and get him, then get back out at range and circle off, use his kicks at range. He does not want to be pressed. Now, here's the deal. When he gets in close, when an opponent's getting close and they press him, he starts swinging wild. Kind of like any of you that went to those like hardcore shows back in the day, and you see those guys swinging like this in like, you know, whatever. I don't want to knock my board over, so bear with me. And they like swinging and they kick him back and stuff. He's a lot like that. So if you went to a hardcore show when you were younger, James Gonzalez striking when he's pressed turns into one of them hardcore dancers. That's how I picture it. Now, for Gallagher, he's also predominantly a grappler. He's a good grappler at that. I don't think he's the level of James Gonzalez, but Gallagher is a good grappler, and he's also a good back taker. When he takes your back, he likes to lock on that body triangle and just start fishing for that rear naked choke. He's got very effective ground and pound, and the thing that makes it so his takedowns are actually pretty good is he shoots a really low shot and gets down to like clear down on your calf or your ankle and gets the takedown from there. Does a good job at it. Now, here's the deal. I think on the mat, I think he's in trouble because I think Gonzalez is better. I don't think he's lost by any means. So if it ends up there, I don't think he's in too big of trouble. But I think if it gets there early in the round, he could end up finding himself in a bad spot. Now, in the striking department, I think Gallagher's the much better striker. Although he's a better grappler than he is striker, I think he's a much better striker than Gonzalez is striker. Now, for the striking of Gallagher, he's got good leg kicks, he's very quick, and his combinations are pretty clean. Now, this is interesting because my coach used to break this down for me like this. He'd say, you know what? You don't necessarily want to fight somebody where you're the best. And you don't necessarily want to fight somebody where they're the worst. You want to fight somebody where the skill gap is the greatest. And he would break it down like this. He would be like, okay, you got your striking range, your clinch, and your grappling, okay? And then he'd say, all right, scale of 1 to 10. We're going to start with 1 to 10s. Well, we'd start with 5s, then we went to 10s, and then we went to like hundreds or whatever because you break it down further. But either way, we're going to go 1 to 10. If you got, say, I'm hypothetical, you know, this fighter here is a 7 in the grappling. This fighter here is a 10 in grappling. This fighter here in the clinch is like a 5. This fighter's a 5. And then in the striking, this fighter here is like a 6, and this fighter's a maybe not even. So this fighter here is like a 7, and this fighter here is like a 4. Okay, it might be more beneficial for you to not necessarily fight where you're the best if it's the grappling, if they're also better in the grappling, but instead fight where the biggest skill gap is. I don't know if those numbers all add up. I'm just throwing stuff out there. Either way, what I mean by that is, yes, Gallagher has good grappling, and I think he can use his grappling to success in most fights. I don't think this is the one, but I do think he's a good enough striker, and the takedown offense of Gonzalez is lacking enough that I think Gallagher's going to be able to land the shots on the feet, and I think he's smart enough to go ahead and keep the fight on the feet and start going that way. So for this, give me James Gallagher, the knockoff Conor McGregor. That's what everybody calls him. You know, the one you get at the dime store. I'm taking him to win this fight. I think he's going to be able to strike better than Gonzalez is, and I think he's going to get the win. But let me know what you think. If you think Gonzalez gets to the mat and gets to finish, I don't blame you. I'd love to hear from you. We have Dalton Rosta taking on Aaron Jeffery in this middleweight matchup. Rosta still undefeated, 8-0 on the career. He's fighting a 3-2 in the last 5 for Jeffery. Jeffery is coming off that loss to John Salter, in which John Salter, he's one of them guys that just kind of surprises you a lot of the time, or at least was. I guess he retired, but one of them guys that surprises you. He's always game for a fight and just kind of brought it to the favorite in Aaron Jeffery. And John Salter, he was able to control Jeffery, and that's something that I'd pointed out before in the past. That Jeffery does get controlled once he is taken down, but he does have a really good takedown defense. But once you get him there, you can be controlled, and that's what Salter was able to do. Now, for Jeffery here, the way he's going to fight, he's going to use cardio and pressure. That's what he's going to use a lot of. In the striking, it's a lot of the 3-2, boom, boom. And then he'll throw the 2-3 sometimes, but he likes to throw that 3-2. Throws that a ton. He's got good knees. He throws them either at range or in the clinch. But that's about it. The striking, he doesn't have a ton of stuff other than 3-2s and knees. That's what he uses a ton in the striking. Now, when it comes to the wrestling, he's a grinder. He wants to push you up against the cage, and he wants to grind on you. If he gets you to the mat, he's going to grind on you. He's got pretty good takedown defense, like I said, but yeah, can get controlled when he gets taken down. For Dalton Rosta, we haven't seen a blemish on his career yet. He has decent striking. And so I know Dalton Rosta's watched my videos before, He got mad at me when I said that Anthony Adams was probably going to have the cleaner striking in that matchup. Yeah, Rosta outstruck him, but it doesn't mean there's no room to be improved on. Okay, he's 8-0. He's fantastic. He's doing really well. So, Dalton, if you're watching this, I don't mean anything bad when I tell you that there's a couple things you can improve on. Now, who am I? I don't know. I'm just some dude on YouTube. But hey, maybe it's worth saying. All right, he's got a point there. That's all I'm saying, brother. I appreciate you. Either way, Dalton Rosta, he's got good power, and he's got good forward pressure. That's awesome. He has long, straight shots. That 1-2. He does that very well. When he throws those, excellent. Sometimes he gets a little content to throw single shots where, just a long one, maybe a hook. But, after a while, if he starts really feeling it, he'll start letting it go. As he started to do in that Anthony Adams fight, that's what he needs more of. He showed a lot of improvement in that fight in the striking. When it comes to his hooks, here's the gripe. So, his hooks get a little bit wide, and because when he throws them, they're here. Now, when you're throwing a hook, you don't necessarily want your shoulder to be back here. You don't want your arm back behind your shoulder. You want it to land when it's here, right? Because that's where your shoulder is stronger, your shoulder joint itself, and you can get that good turn, and you don't wrench on that shoulder, but you also get the most force there because it's nice and tight here. When you're back here, you don't get as much force, even though you feel like you're winding up. Now, he sometimes, in the midst of a fight, will get that way and get a little bit loopy in his hooks. Now, I'm nitpicking here because he's very powerful when he lands those hooks. But if you can tighten those hooks up a little bit, I think Dalton Rosta is going to improve to a pretty good striker because he's already got the solid wrestling. His wrestling, heck of a good takedown artist. He's going to get the takedown on most guys. Solid takedown defense as well. But the best part is when he gets on top, he's got heavy ground and pound. I think Rosta probably gets this one done. If Jeffery is to win, he's going to just have to out-cardio and outpace him. That's what he's going to have to do. I think the first round, Rosta's going to take it for sure. Second round, probably a little closer. Rosta probably still wins that one. Then the third round, Jeffery's going to try to mount a comeback, and I don't think he's going to be able to get it. However, if Jeffery is to win, it's just because he's going to out-volume and outpace him. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Rosta gets it done. Like I said, I think that he's got a lot of talent. He's only 8-0 on the career, and I do think that wrestling base gives him the opportunity to let those hands go a little bit because he knows he can fall back on that wrestling. So for me, Rosta's a pick. Feel all right about it. Let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And Dalton Rosta, if you're watching, hey man, I'm not trying to knock your striking. I don't think it's bad at all. In fact, you're probably a better striker than I am by a landslide. So I'm just saying, man. That's what I do. I break stuff down. So it's nothing personal, brother. I'm picking you to win, just like I did last time. Anyway, next fight, guys. See you in this matchup again. We have a heavyweight match between Steve Mowry and Valentin Moldavsky. Now, these guys were paired up once before. I do believe it was an eye poke that stopped the fight within the first minute. So, never really came to fruition. That's why you're going to see a no contest on each of their records. Mowry, he is undefeated still, but he's teetering with every option you can get, all right? He's got 3-0 losses, 1 draw, and 1 no contest in his last fight. 3 wins, 0 losses, 1 draw, and 1 no contest. For Valentin Moldavsky, 2 wins, 2 losses, and a no contest in the last 5. Now, interesting here because there is a massive height advantage for Mowry over just about everybody. He's 6'8", but he has a 79-inch reach. He's going against the 6'1", 75-inch reach of Moldavsky. Now, the reach isn't too crazy for Mowry, but that height is. Now, with that height and that range comes good striking because he's able to hit people before they can hit him, so it makes his strikes look a little bit more crisp. Those long, straight shots, solid. He's got good straight punches. Decent kicks, they're not bad. He's got knees up the middle that I do really like. He uses those well. And he's showing improvement in his striking every single fight. He started throwing a little bit more in the combinations in his last matchup. His striking defense is still the tall guy defense where he just tries to lean. Not always the best, but he's doing well at everything except for the defense. Now, in the grappling, he has that Kimura that he loves to go to, okay? He's going to try to attack your arms with that. He's also got a few other arm lock submissions that he goes for. The ground and pound, I like that even better than when he's trying to fish for these Kimuras because he starts landing those big elbows. And with those big, long, lanky arms comes a good chance for you to swoop over the top and land an elbow from an angle that your opponent's not used to, all right? So for that, I do like the ground and pound. The problem, it's good and bad. It's good because Mowry's good off his back. He's very active off his back. The problem is he's willing to stay there if he does end up on the bottom. And against a guy like Moldavsky, that's definitely a possibility because the guy's got solid grappling. He's got very good takedowns. When he gets on top, he just grinds on you and starts grinding on you until he can seek that finish from the top. He's going to wear on you, run the forearm across your face, land enough shots just to wear you out, and then look for that finish the second you give him the opening. If he ends up on bottom, what he's going to try and do is work back to his feet and then try to take the fight to the ground on his own terms. In the striking, he's decent. He's very quick, but he's just efficient. He doesn't waste a lot of movement, doesn't do anything extra. He just does what he needs to do to get those strikes landed. Strikes landed on the opponent. I don't know if you guys saw that bug. Sorry, I just swatted him on the air. I don't know why I've been getting a bunch of those lately. They must be sneaking in through a window or something. Either way, for Steve Mowry, though, I do think he's going to have a pretty good advantage in the striking, just being that bigger, longer guy and having more options. And throwing those knees up the middle, things like that, it's going to make it so the timing on the takedowns for Moldavsky has to be perfect. Now, for Moldavsky, though, I do think he's the better grappler. Now, I know there's the submission threat from Mowry with the Kimura, but I do think that Moldavsky's going to be able to win more minutes on top and land the enough ground and pound to keep it there and win the round. It is a tough fight for me. And Mowry somehow is like a plus 200 underdog, and I don't know that it should be. I think this should be really close to a pick'em. And for me, I'm going to take Mowry. I think he's going to land the more damaging shots, and I think that he's probably going to win a decision that way. I don't see a finish on either side. I think it's going to be a tough back-and-forth fight. I'm going to lean Mowry as the dog, but, not my most confident pick of the card. Like I said, I give him the striking, and I think he's going to land the more dangerous, damaging shots. And judges have been favoring that lately. And you never know with Bellator. You get some weird judging. But Bellator probably wants the 10-0 undefeated guy to win too. So, hey, we're going to go with Mowry. Let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear from you. I'll see you in the next one. I feel like it flew by, but yet here we are. Main event of the evening. Logan Storley taking on Brennan Ward at 170 pounds for the welterweight division. Both guys are 3-2 in their last 5. And real quick, hey guys, this is the main event. If you made it this far in the video, if you haven't done it already, hit that like button for me. I do appreciate it greatly. We're growing the channel. We're doing the darn thing. You guys are enjoying the content. I'm enjoying making it. We got to keep the channel growing, so please hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. It means a lot. This matchup here. So for Brennan Ward, if you remember last time we had Brennan Ward on the docket for our fights, we brought in Cassius Kane, who fought Brennan Ward a couple of fights back. He was able to give his insight on Brennan Ward and the new kind of revitalized Brennan Ward since he's come back to Bellator after that hiatus he took. So he was able to give some very good insight. He actually called that win of Brennan Ward over Sabah Hamasi, where I was leaning Hamasi originally, and then Kane came on, told us what's up, gave us the reason he thought Ward was going to win, and guess what? Ward went out there and put it on him. He showed a very improved gas tank because in the past he'd been known kind of to falter in that. He's still a very kill or be killed fighter. I believe he's only had one decision in his entire career. Otherwise, every fight has been a stoppage, whether it was for him or the opponent. Now, for Brennan Ward, though, like I said, that cardio is much improved. He seems to have a whole new skill set that he's coming in with, but he still finds himself in a lot of brawls. Thankfully for him, he's pretty durable, but he's going to come forward. He's going to use his power. He's going to throw these combinations with some zipping shots, and he's just going to try to turn things into a brawl and win fights that way. Now, in the grappling, he's not lost. If he ends up on top, he's probably going for the ground and pound. If he ends up on the bottom, he's going to try to scramble, look for chokes. He sometimes will look for those from the top as well, but typically he's going to ground and pound you if he's on top. Brennan Ward, he's a good fighter, but he's going up against one heck of a good wrestler in Logan Storley. Because Logan Storley's wrestling, he has very, very good takedown volume. Relentlessly is going to chain wrestle, just over and over, look for those takedowns. Once he gets the fight to the mat, he's content to stay in half guard and just grind people out there, land enough shots to put them away. Sometimes he'll look for the submission, sometimes he'll look for the ground and pound. But what he's going to do is he's going to win a ton of minutes because when he gets on top, he's just laying on you like a heavy, heavy wet blanket. He does have good scrambling abilities as well, in case you want to try and create a scramble. Logan Storley is one heck of a wrestler. When it comes to the striking, it's awful. He's got bad striking. He basically throws a 1-2 with his hands down low like this, and then that's it. So striking isn't there. But he doesn't really need it in most of his fights. As you see, he's 14-2 on the career. His only loss is coming to the top of the top. So for Logan Storley, that wrestling has got him here, and he's done very well with it. And I think it has something to do with the fact that he's got a very high motor, tons of pressure, and absolutely insane cardio. And I'm picking him to win this fight. I think Logan Storley's going to get it done. I think he's going to be able to use that wrestling, the power, the power of the takedowns, get on top, grind out a win. I think he's going to be able to do that. Now, Brennan Ward has a real shot here in the striking. at the beginning of every round before the fight gets to the mat, Brennan Ward has a real chance to win with those shots. But I think Logan Storley's going to get it done. I think the top pressure is going to be too much. I think he's going to wear on Brennan Ward. Even though he has the improved gas tank, I don't think that anybody in Bellator has a gas tank like Logan Storley. So, for me, Storley's the pick. I think he's going to get this one done with that wrestling. But, like I said, Brennan Ward's a live dog here. Not live enough for me to place a bet on. I'm taking Storley. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.